GM.
Well, good morning, Dracula. Good morning, Sonic. How you guys doing today?
Man, doing excellent. We got a stacked backstage right now.
Yeah, we got lots of guys in the backstage, some special guests, locked and loaded, ready to go. Unfortunately, I only have a video intro prepared for one of them. We're going to have a world premiere. We're going to have an ultra superstar make his debut on stage today. I hope you guys are ready. Get ready.
Souvlaki is the band's masterpiece.
Souvlaki. We are looking at how to pronounce this name as well as how to say more interesting but often confusing. Souvlaki.
My therapist said that the Souvlaki won't bring my hair back. I said, I'm getting a new therapist.
Man.
Welcome, Souvlaki. How you doing? Welcome to GM Sonic.
Awesome. I was just saying, how cool is the wolf at the back? Just what a great intro. Thank you. And thank you for having me. Good to see the both of you.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you on. Famous big brain, Mr. Souvlaki. But you told me you're a free agent right now. I know you've kind of been all over the place, but you're just chilling right now, right? You're not like working with any team directly or anything?
No. At the moment, I am a free agent. So if you know someone that's looking for some help, I am in the market, and that's why I've just been spending time thinking around, finding interesting things on the network to talk about. Hopefully, they provide value to people that read them. Some good feedback, some ways to improve, which was always great. Like any constructive criticism is always welcome. And I also I took a crack at, like, I'm trying to start my own show that just unpacks what's happening on chain a bit more, and then speaking to guests or primarily focused on builders in the Sonic ecosystem to understand a bit more in terms of what they're building, how the value flows goes through it. And there we are.
And this show is on-chain economy, correct?
Yeah. So I try to do the show every Tuesday. And if you don't mind me plugging, I have a Linus on next week Tuesday show, which they're doing a new. They're breaking down the walls in terms of how fundraising is done, and they're introducing a few new interesting concepts. And I'm excited to hear how they're going to, what their plans are, and how to change this low float, high FTV bubble that we're in, and align founders, speculators, and community.
Right on. And you know what? This is right after we do GM Sonic. So you know what? You hop from here, you go straight there. And I'm interested. I'll be in there because I want to know how do we fix this? Because this is something that I've noticed a lot is a lot of founders with a lot of energy kind of getting demotivated, as like VCs and speculators kind of just pillage their product, and they're kind of left holding the bag with communities that are displeased. So I'm curious to see what Aligners is bringing.
Awesome. I'll see you on Monday. Tuesday, sorry.
Tuesday,
Yeah, I was glad for you to hop on. I know it was like the tail end of the last episode. We were bringing up your thread on the on this new Beats pool thing, and so you kind of had a follow up on it, and I was wondering if you could also just explain. You could probably explain better than I did what the pool actually was supposed to be, because I had just read about it right before the show started. So just wondering if you could break down what this pool Beethoven's working on is, and what your findings were here. You had like a follow up thread post. I mean,
all right, sure. I think to start it off, I mean, should we speak a bit about? It's all around the opportunity that stable surge hook introduces. Right? And do you want to talk a bit about why that hook was designed and what its intended purpose was for?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
If you think of these, I mean, we've been through multiple iterations of Tetherfund, or it's I don't know, just over a year ago, where Silverbank caused a massive depegging on USDC. And if you think about like what generally happens with that is when you're holding a stable coin, you're doing one of two things. You want to hold it for yield, or you're going to pull it for the fees, right? And so when an instance like that happens, everyone like panics, right? And they sell those tokens into the pool, and it tilts those pools. And we've seen it all the time. You see like, and then you'll see a stat come up. Oh, that USDT in the curve 3 pool or 2 pool is up to 80%, and Tether's going down, and all of that. And then Tether recovers. Now, as a liquidity provider, you're doing, in that instance, there's one of two things that are happening. You're trying to farm the fees because you know Tether is sound, or you're just not paying attention and you don't know what's happening to investment. So let's put those in a box and look at the guys that actually believe and look at the underlying data that there's no reason that these pools, or even if it's an LST, it's actually going down. This is just a deviance between market price and redemption price. And so what the stable surge does is once the pool balance shifts past a certain percentage, it starts taxing an additional fee. So your swap fee goes up to sell that token into the pool. But if you're selling the other token into the pool, you pay the normal swap fee. So it is there to help liquidity providers just extract more fees out of that wallet, because you are taking more risk as a liquidity provider in that period. So it's right that you should get rewarded more. And if you think, well, that's not fair on the traders, but I mean, if you think the thing is depegging, do you mind taking like 50 bips additional hit on your swap fee? Probably not, because you're looking to exit as soon as possible, where the liquidity provider is like, well, I don't think it's going to do that, but you can pay me for the services. So that's why conceptually, why that stable surge hook is there. It's to help liquidity providers through those periods. Now, the thing with this pool is there are a number of interesting factors. One is that it's not like a constant product or a multi-token weighted pool that we normally see, or that Balancer allows. It's using the constant sum formula that you see in stable coins, but it is a sonic token and USDC. And I mean, that's a stable token and a volatile token. And they're using a rate provider that then calculates that value of sonic on the basis of it being a stable coin. It is a lot more technical than this. I'm just speaking high level in terms of how I understand it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pause here and say, if you do want to find out more about this pool, the Beats team does have like a session every Friday in the Discord where you can pop in and ask the team any questions. And that's where I asked about this pool. It was, I was in there with Nally and Franz, and I was like, hey, what does this pool do? And they were explaining to me, and then I went and wrote about it.
Yeah.
But so it uses now this rate provider to tell the pool that Sonic behaves like a stable coin, right? And then it uses stable surge to keep it in its range. And that's why, and then if we think of stable pools just in general, they typically carry a lower swap fee. That's why we're seeing volumes going through the roof, even for a stable pool. Like that capital efficiency ratio was quite high. I mean, in the original post I did, like it never dropped below 15-1 on a day, which is really, really high. And it cranked up to like over 70 at its peak. So if the pool functions, that's attracting a lot of volume and a lot of fees. That is great. And Stable Surge is bringing you that additional fees. And then in the first post that I did, I intentionally left out the fees part because it was experimental. And I think, like I mentioned in the follow-up post, thanks to the team for blocking the UI from protecting legions from aping it. Because after I posted it, I got a ton of messages. Everyone's like, hey, how do I ape into this pool? These APRs are insane. I'm like, yeah, they are quite crazy, but there's a lot of risk here, and because it's the first time it's being tried, and you can only really try it in production, right? This isn't something you can do in a test net and hope it works.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then from the follow-up that I did, I actually dove into the fees where I unpacked from the initial deposit into the pool. I inferred what the ratio was between Sonic and USDT, and the value there, and then I looked at, okay, well, what was the move in Sonic price over that period of time, and I calculated like a performance versus HODL perspective, and then I was like, okay, well, so HODL outperformed by 17%, but then if we split out your loss, it's IL and something else. And then I wanted to look what that something else was, because that 70% number is quite big, and it does look like there's leakage happening in the pool from just the way that I think the updates in the pool work, but I'm not entirely sure the cause. But having said that, like I did say on the post, you can the team has identified this already even before I did this post, because you can see it on the Beach UI that there've been one or two additional pools that have been deployed to try different configurations, right? Because that value flow out of the pool could just be down to a configuration issue, which is how frequent the Oracle price updates or multiple things, right? And so you just need to find the right combination. Hopefully, if you find the right combination, it sticks.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's like a pretty fascinating concept where, it is kind of almost like mixing balancer tech with like concentrated liquidity in a way. And yeah, I mean, I think that's really what it's all about, is like, once we moved into like this era of more like V3 and everything, it's like, any way to like reward LPers, I think, is like a valuable tool, because it's been established that LPers are generally taking higher, not generally, they are taking higher risk than, say, just holding tokens. So yeah, I think I hope they keep experimenting with it, because it's definitely like, I think it could be an interesting solution to this kind of like IL and everything.
Yeah, this kind of innovation that we're excited to be seeing happening, right? This continual pushing of new implementations of the tech, right? And a DeFi. That's what we want to see on Sonic, dude. That's how it's going to stay on top of this DeFi push, right? Not just deploying existing tooling already, something kind of new. I'm excited, especially because it's, from Beats, dude. Beats has been around for so long, continuing new things.
Yeah. And for those that joined the tunnel, Daniel dropped a bit of other alpha in terms of they're taking two approaches to the same problem, that they are looking, or they are working on a implementation of almost concentrated liquidity on Beethoven, but where your range dynamically shifts with the price over time. So it shifts with a lag, but that takes away the pain of getting moved out of range, because the range will shift with the market price with you. So under normal circumstances, you should always be in range. Then depends again on configuration where you dip out or not. But that's a different approach to kind of the same problem. And like I said in the post, like if they manage to get both right, I think that's really powerful. I hope all of that made sense.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Kind of like what Corval was saying. It's just it's refreshing to hear stuff like this being worked on. We had kind of like a nice pop in DeFi. Obviously developing things goes in cycles, and we had this nice pop of like DeFi protocols and new things and stuff right around closer to like when the chain launched. And I feel like that's what we're gearing up for now, is kind of like round two. There's like, a handful of new things coming that are interesting, and, they're getting wrapped up in the background. So yeah, would love to see this, on the network, and, see how I think that would make people pretty excited to test something new like this. So.
Yeah, I think so. What are people getting excited for on the chain right now?
Well,
if we got a little lull in DeFi, what is going on right now? What's hot right now, Drac?
I know we got something this morning. This is just like a little. This is like a little ooh.
Oh, nice little,
Nice little whatever. Yeah,
luxury spend. You know,
a little luxury spend. Treat yourself. I don't think the domain market is like totally open yet on Unstoppable, but if you reserved a .sonic domain name, they like sent out emails this morning for like wherever you registered and said you could start claiming. So you got 4 weeks to claim. You know, like what they did, I don't know if you recall, but it was either before Sonic launch or right at Sonic launch. You were able to kind of like go ahead and like reserve some names, some domain names. And I think there was maybe a little fee or something. I can't remember. So yeah, this is like finally, this is finally starting to roll out. So
this is a big problem. This is a big problem, dude. I'm not seeing my email. I want my domain, dude. I can't have someone scooping this thing.
Well, here's what I realized. I was starting to look at it about 30 minutes before the show started, and I was like, I just have to come back to this because I realized that like I registered something with an email. I have an account with a wallet. I have an account with my ex. So apparently, whatever account you registered it with, you have like something in your inbox or an email or something. So yeah, you might have to just dig around a little bit.
False alarm! I found it. I had it filtered. Suva, you getting one? What's your domain going to be?
I think that's pretty obvious, right? Well, I'll get more than one. I'll get more than one. But I think I reserved 2 or 3.
I reserved
the
a
main
couple.
one that I reserved is I think is quite obvious, and the timing is perfect because every now and then I like to do a cleanup of my wallets to rotate into entirely new fresh wallets, and it can coincide with the domain name.
Oh, clever. See, you would think that I just got Corval.sonic, but you see, I actually grabbed Shadow.sonic, I grabbed Equalizer.sonic, I grabbed Silo. I grabbed all the ones that I can then resell for later.
Yeah, we're trying to add to the marketing fund here, so we went ahead and just all the dexes. We went ahead and got your domain names for you. So just hit us up when you're ready to talk.
Yeah, I've got a very reasonable rate I'm willing to work with here.
Did you get Extortion.sonic?
Excuse me?
Did you get Extortion.sonic?
Extortion.sonic.
No, I think it goes without saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking to copy me, you could use this chart right here. Jack the Oiler posted this, a comprehensive landscape. So I would just go through and buy all of these .sonic if you haven't.
There's an idea.
I was looking at this. Is there anything left for us to build, Souvlaki? Like at all? I mean, like it's like everything.
Scroll up. I think just
all these
a really degenerate meme prediction market could do well on the network.
No, that's an interesting idea.
Which we don't really have. Yeah, that's a top one. It's kind of, but it's hard to keep track with everyone that's launching, all the products that they're bringing to the market. Even if you look at, I was such a noob when they first, like when Stablejack first went live on the network, and I saw PT and YT, and I just assumed they were like Pennell, and then I unpacked it, and I was like, well, this is actually quite different. So not only do we have complex or sophisticated DeFi products like fixed yield, we have different versions of it, which is really cool. But yeah, I think the one thing that's always stood out for me was a prediction market. Whether it will get adoption on the network, I don't know. But
I don't know. There's so many, there's so many memes that came over from Fantom and so many memes on Sonic now. I think that could actually be pretty interesting. Obviously a prediction market on meme token prices would be way more volatile than just like, doing it with like S or whatever. So I would like to see that too. That would be interesting.
Be psycho.
But you could have fun with the community, right? Like, will Corval be late for GM Sonic today, or will GM Sonic start on time? Right. So you can predict, and you can you can poke fun at like the ecosystem in a lighthearted manner and continue to sort of strengthen the community around that. So there's a
Yeah,
ton
and
of
then
things outside of token prices.
Wasn't there a prediction market or something had a prediction market, but it was very, very low liquidity on Phantom. I guess they didn't port it over.
the THC, they had a kind of like a prediction market called Futures, spelled like FEW, and I think they're bringing that to Sonic. But I think it was more in line with kind of like Polymarket, you know, kind of just like, you know, who's going to win this game, what's going to happen in this election. So if they are bringing that to Sonic, though, that's something to think about. I like this idea of there being kind of like, you know, kind of like a meme twist on it. You know what I mean? Where, I don't know, you could kind of like do some of this stuff like in real time and have fun with it. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, I mean, I think they're bringing that to Sonic, but I think besides that, I haven't heard about anything else in terms of like a prediction market coming. So, I mean, that's free game for you devs out there.
What do you guys think about a meme marketplace that's like a competition, right, between the memes that are launched on this marketplace, and the losers of each round are obliterated. Their liquidity is seized.
You just have to give it all
meme
away.
is destroyed. Yeah, all the holders have their tokens revoked, made worthless, and the winner gets all the prize. What do you guys think about that one?
That sounds
you
pretty
think
interesting.
You think be interest for that? All right, I'll keep looking about
You
it.
have a lot of mad people every day, so I'm not sure. It would be fun if you won. It'd be fun if you win, but yeah.
Look, I'm just trying to create emotion on the network. Okay, I was talking to the assistant. There needs to be more emotion here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it's been quite funny in the Sheepcoin Telegram chat. I don't know if you guys played Sheepcoin at all, but you have randoms who actually don't understand what the purpose of the game is about, right? And they're like, I logged on today and all my tokens are gone. Like they disappeared. Did you rug me or did you drain my wallet? And
man,
no, dude, someone else ate them.
That's always the hard part with the I guess the Ponzi's in general and the games and all that stuff is like, I was talking about this a little while ago. Goggles teamed up with Indie and they kind of put together this like wolf game kind of fork. And I was talking about how like that is kind of like, it's unfortunate. I mean, sometimes it's funny, but it's also kind of unfortunate where it's like, you know, sometimes people just ape tokens and don't know anything about it. And then, you know, it's a game or, you know, part of a, you know, kind of like a DeFi Ponzi thing or whatever. And it's like they bought the token just thinking like, oh, I just buy the token because it's going up. And you always get those people that are like, you know, they don't understand what's happening and they're mad. And, you know, I think it goes back to like last run, you know, DYOR was popular to throw out there on pretty much anything that was, you know, it's like people have kind of moved away from that. You know, they're just like, I see coin, I ape, which there's fun elements to that too. But, you know, like I said, it's like sometimes it's like you should probably at least just like go check the X of a token that, you know, if you're going to buy a token and you don't have it yet and you don't know really much about it, like maybe just check out the X real quick or something.
They've been trained on pump fund, dude. That's all they know.
Yeah.
You see the ticker, you buy the ticker.
Yeah, you go to Deck Screener and you go, oh shit, this is going up, so I buy it. But it's like you might not understand like there's mechanics or whatever.
It's like, oh my god, it made it past and it's out of the bonding curve for an hour, like, and it hasn't moved. Let's load up. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Corval. I think Pump.Fun changed the way that people would claim they DYOR.
I think they were. I think it was shifting. Look, I think the difficult thing here is, Souvlaki, I think you'll agree with me, is it's like difficult to kind of skill people up, or like if you're throwing them into like DeFi, right? This thing where you're gonna have to study and research. A lot of people are just it's gonna be like World War I. A lot of people are just gonna get shot and killed like immediately off the bat, right? Some people might learn like how to navigate the battlefield, but a lot of them are just gonna die. And
put the gun down.
Yeah, we got to put the gun down, right? But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, right? Markets inevitably have people competing for value capture, right?
I think,
And so we were slowly like moving towards this stage where people were like capable of navigating this battlefield in a less fatal way. But then when Pump Fun came, it was like, well, now it's just a game again. So everyone could just rush in and just get slaughtered again. And now that Pump Fun is gone, they're just back here on the battlefield. It's Verdun all over again, Souvlaki.
I think we were like we were down so bad in the bear market for like anything that wasn't memes. It's kind of like, I think people just like forget that it's like, oh yeah, like, typically in crypto, if you look at like last run, if you bought a token, it was 9 times out of 10 associated with a protocol or a project or something. And yeah, like we just moved away, got totally like ushered away from that, where it's just like, oh, there's only token speculation. There's, barely DeFi. There's barely, so, that was always something we were really excited about with Sonic, was just like, man, like, we need some stuff that's not just, playing a slot machine in the casino, basically. So
the thing is, well, a question to both of you is, how much do you think people actually want to understand these things versus staying in this casino? If you just think, right, how much more complicated DeFi is now compared to the last cycle. Last cycle, you came in and just explaining what constant product and constant sum was. Like, it was like difficult to wrap your head around. Now you have concentrated liquidity and on this, and you have all these different variations of dexes and all these things. And to get up that curve is really, really hard, because everything is spoken about at level, let's say 7 to 10, and you have a lot of participants, I think, that are actually at 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's helping them get to 7.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, how many people did enter just from that meta? And I know this just from watching Sonic. We had this like meme pump, and we actually got a lot of people from Solana over, and I can't tell you how many people would come into like a Telegram and just be like, what's the wallet? Like, what, like, is there a wallet? Like, is it like Phantom wallet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the wallet? How do I get money here? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's true. It's kind of like, I think that did kind of usher in like a different level of participant. And honestly, I don't know if those people want to learn about DeFi.
I think there's like a kind of a difference in that. Like, I think it's 2 different things that need to be skilled. People need to be skilled for, right? And I think one is like the UI UX component of it all, which is just an inevitable progress. These are products, so eventually they're going to consistently try to find a UI UX that works, and that'll get there. I think we probably already have that with the Phantom wallet. To be honest, a lot of people that don't know anything about anything can effortlessly onboard. And I think that's going to be a fairly large market, but the amount of people that actually truly want to understand a lot of more complicated DeFi stuff, I mean, to me, this was kind of like the silliness of the decentralization in the first place. The idea of true decentralization is like, how many people do you think are actually interested enough in this and can be made to be interested enough to make the effort to learn to participate in this? Democracy is fairly simple in terms of voting, and people don't do that. And then similarly, why do we think like stock brokers, guys on Wall Street, get paid so much? It's not just because, the system is unfair or whatever. It's because they have to learn extremely technical, complicated things and become extremely familiar with these very complicated markets. That's how you rise this level of power where you're making money. It's the same thing's going to happen with the DeFi markets, right? Like 95% of participants are not going to know 85% of what they need to know to participate as completely rational actors. I don't know. That's my thesis.
It's crazy to think that there are so many out there that would allocate capital to something that they don't actually understand what its intended purpose is, right? How should this work? It is quite crazy, but I do agree with you, Cole, that Yeah, and I do think that's part of the problem. And one thing that's always helped, I think, on Sonic itself is it was quite a DeFi native community because of like if Phantom originally had that hype, it was around DeFi applications, DeFi
Yeah.
products, and then there was a spin-off of NFT communities and meme communities that did a lot in terms of retaining and culture building around those users that came to the network. But I mean, even if we think something as simple as like VM, right? The Sonic team speaks a lot about VM, but it's not a new concept, right? Yet so many still don't actually understand. So many builders still don't
Yeah.
actually understand what it means, and it's crazy. But
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about VM a good bit on the show. How, like, if anything, there were people that at first were just kind of like, "Oh, well, what's that gonna matter if it's a fraction of a penny every TX?" But you go to the VM dashboard and you see that no, I mean this does add up. I mean, people with six figures in S from their fees only, and I think the way Sonic handled it was smart, because making this like leaderboard and showing people like you can actually make money on this, and you do whatever you want with the S you get back. Because we saw it kind of like experimented with. Like first it was I want to say it was Kanto was one of the first I saw that had it like on a contract level. Obviously nothing really had the proper traction on Kanto to really make it like a significant thing. Obviously the biggest example was Blast, which I feel like it got kind of fumbled because they talked about it a lot, but they didn't really, they didn't make anything like the VM dashboard. They didn't seem to like go after it the way Sonic has and make developers really understand that, you can earn some of this yield back, and you can give it to your holders, or you can, give it to your team if you need something for the team, like whatever you want to do. They didn't really push it the way Sonic has. And I think people are starting to realize that, I mean, this can actually make significant money for your team. And I mean, if you can even give that as in some form as like yield to your holders or something, even better, just to keep that like flywheel positive. I did notice something interesting. You were talking about kind of like what had attention on Phantom. And this is brand new from Masari, saying that, Sonic is still, in terms of the timeline, like top mind share right now, which is really interesting.
What's that one right behind it? Is that Radium?
Let's take a look. Yeah, let me zoom in on that better. Yeah, Radium. Then Hype. I mean, more mind share than Hyperliquid right now, which is crazy.
And those guys sign all their posts. So great job, Sonic team. Keep getting them Kaido yaps. Well, this is Masari,
yeah, we need.
but
Yeah, I thought they were gonna give yaps for Sonic. We need to get that set up for sure.
yeah,
But-
we got to collect our rent however we can.
But yeah, I mean, I think that right now we're just kind of like in this, the market's just it's just crabby right now. I don't know.
Let's throw up the charts real quick. We haven't looked at the charts yet. Souvlaki, what do you think about the state of the world?
The state of the world.
oh,
You see, I'm
I
an
guess it
award-winning
depends if
interviewer.
it's does it depend whether it's a tariff day on or day off?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
Do you think? Look, this is like kind of a dangerous question, because I guess it depends on your following. But do you think it's 5D chess, Souvlaki, or do you think we're just being thrashed about like a chicken? Like he's shaking us by the neck, because it's. I saw something. I guess the reason why is because the last thing I saw before last show was they're all on hold, and now they're being tactically placed, and now we're actually all back to 150 or whatever. I have no idea what to think.
I think it is just attempting to help the average American. Like the principle behind what he's trying to do, like by like I think it's the right thing to do because of, I mean, and it's not like he got inaugurated like, let's hypothetically say it was a Tuesday, right? And he did his speech and whatever, and then 2-3 days later, he video conferenced into the World Economic Forum. I watched that forum, and he said they in front of it, like they had all these people on stage, like a panel. They're like, "Oh, Mr. President, so happy to see you." And he's like, "You know what, guys? You don't treat America fair. It's not all right for America to fund, right, most of the military support for the Ukraine, and your tariffs are wrong, and we are going to fix that." And then they were speaking about, "Oh, do you know, like the European counterparts on the panel were trying to say about this working," and he always went back to, "You're not treating us well." And he went straight in and he brought in these things. And I mean, like this, I was reading up in terms of like the history of the tariffs, and the story behind it is quite wild. It's quite wild that they're still in place. And I think this is just a move to get Europe to take down their tariffs as opposed to match the tariffs. But execution is not always the same as idea, right? And I think we're in that stage. What I do think is quite what's happened to me personally, and I don't know if others are feeling it too, is that do you remember the first time it came out that China was banning Bitcoin? China was banning. It's like, oh my God, and the market nuked. And then it went up, and then China banned Bitcoin again, and it went down. And then after a while, China was banning Bitcoin, and I was like, I don't care.
Who cares? Yeah. No, it's true.
I'm so desensitized to it. And the market somewhat did the same, right? The last 1 or 2 attempts to ban crypto, the market was like, meh, whatever. Whereas if you look at now with the tariffs, now personally, like I hear the tariff news, I'm like, oh, okay. What did the market think? Like for me, it's just like not, oh my God, he's actually done it anymore. It's just like, okay, well, he's doing his thing. What does the market think? And I actually haven't, if any of you charting gurus out there, maybe this is one for you, Corval, is to actually look at the impact on each tariff announcement. Is the drop down as significant? Is the pullback as significant as the perceived economic impact? Or as we, at a market level, becoming slowly, let me try that again, are we slowly becoming more desensitized to it? However, tariffs is more than just crypto, right? China banning crypto is just the crypto market, where tariffs is stock market and a few other economic factors. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can, kind of like what you're saying here. I mean, this is the Bitcoin Weekly. I mean, basically you can watch how this is obviously the first announcements. Then it's like, come back, then there's more announcements. And then I mean, you can actually watch on the chart that it's like, we are getting, more like desensitized to the idea. The market is,
But what I mean is, if you're slapping a tariff from 75 to 150%, right, and you're doing 2x on the tariff versus a tariff from 120 to 150, the smaller increase, I mean, that makes sense of a smaller impact on the market. And I mean, inferring that economic overlay over the movement in the charts.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see, I don't know, I feel like we're looking at, crabbing for a minute, I think, unfortunately, while we navigate this.
I think this is like the closest to kind of what you're talking about, but I think we could do, I think a more comprehensive analysis would be interesting. And this is just for the S&P. But you do kind of see like a weakening of the impact of the tariff announcements on the chart. So there is like a resiliency kind of being built in, but I think there's also kind of like a trailing effect that we're maybe not so aware of yet. Because these things take a little while to actually, like, we can trade the news, right? But it's going to take a little bit longer for it to fully materialize in the underlying values of the assets, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what that's kind of the issue with the Fed that we're hearing this week, is that there was a lot of people speculating that this was somehow a move to like force the Fed's hand, but if anything, it's making the Fed pivot to exactly what you're saying, Corval, which is like we anticipate that the longer term effects are not going to be positive, like here, like down the road a little bit. And, so now we're like having to decide if, rates are actually too low right now again. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, now it's the battle is, we're shifting gears to now, like, I said in the last episode that, there was a period coming up where like Powell could basically be replaced. And now you're looking at like, Trump might find a way to fire him before they can even get there. Considering that, they want to put their own guy in there that's going to slash the rates. They want to start the easing.
That'd be a really bad move, personally.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not good for money. It's good for our bags, but how far does that get us,
Well, I mean, I think the instability that would bring is crazy, but that's getting a little crazy. But Drac, you're
Way
saying,
out.
yeah, because that's like, I don't know. I guess everything has felt like some sort of constitutional crisis in the last like fucking 16 years or whatever. But yeah, we're thinking still going right here. I was looking at this little shape right here, Dracula, and I was like, is this a bullish consolidation, you think, here? Because that cell was immediately bought up in this big fat green bar. And this is
I
important
think
for my financial future.
I think that's part of the when we are just kind of crabbing is, you get these like wind ups. And I mean, I think with S, that's what we're looking at right now is, Sonic's performed pretty, like it's been pretty resilient, considering what's been happening with the general market and the crypto market. But yeah, I mean, you see daily candles like this, you can anticipate a big move. And hopefully that move is up. Like I said, that's the issue is that sometimes that violent move is down. But yeah, let's hope that this is winding up and we're going to have a nice giant green candle here soon.
There's a little bit of we're kind of right in the edge of a big volume cliff here, a little bit, I think. And
yeah, things are slowing down a little bit.
At least on Shadow, a bit of a liquidity cliff below 46 cents. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of liquidity there. So we move very quickly through those price ranges, right? Suv, am I crazy here?
Crazy in general, yes. Yeah, I don't know. You're speaking about things that are for the last 10-15 minutes you've spoken about things that are quite outside my expertise, right? They just might be
That's okay. That's all we do on this show.
No, I mean, I think that, I think we're just still going to be kind of like I said, we're going to be, I think, a little sideways. I think we're still going to have volatility with whatever's coming with these announcements. I don't know if that's the next catalyst we need or not. Something from the Fed, one way or the other,
I have a question. It's like very, very sophisticated about this chart that you have here, Corval. Like I need to look. I was just trying to look at the time frame you're looking at. And the biggest thing that confuses me here is why you're using the MEXC chart.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Especially if you're looking at volume clip.
We started with this because it was actually like one of the only charts when Sonic first launched. I think MEXC was actually like the first. They were like the first like centralized exchange. Yeah, like I almost wonder what if we have other. Got Bitfinet. Well, yeah, we got some options here, but that's a good point. I think it's time to shift with something that's a little deeper on the scale. You know what I mean?
And what does the volume look like here? The volume cliff.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, here, yeah, I mean, you're kind of looking at going under 40 cents or something would be a pretty that would definitely be like kind of like a free fall for a minute. But we've gone through this before with the phantom chart, where it's like you get to this like these areas where you go below and you're gonna like tumble before you get caught again. But yeah, I mean, I think all in all, hopefully we hold this range and we get some like good news from somebody to get this market moving.
Fallout Zone asked like, what are the bones telling us, right? And my bones have been telling me since December to buy more Sonic, and my bones are tired, so I've run out of bones, right? Yeah, because every time I load up on the next dip, then something happens, and not Sonic related, like wider market related. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, man, I think we all just need a break.
Yeah, I
just
think
need a break, and-
it's one of those moments where it's just kind of like earn some yield, stake your stuff, farm your stuff, wait for what's the next move here,
Do you remember the back end of last year, how everyone was like, and they were gearing up like Q1 bull market, and it was just like, oh, is the bull market going to end? Is going to end the end of March, or is it going to go all the way to September? But bull market's definitely coming. Like Trump's getting inaugurated, and he's pro crypto, and then he got inaugurated, and he launched a token, and we've gone talking about
played us for fools, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I read somewhere that Trump Coin has some unlocks happening today, and it's a 3-month.
Have you ever looked at like the tokenomics of the Trump token?
I did, yes.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while. It was like right when it launched for me. It's like 50 tranches or some shit of unlocks. Yeah. Like there's like three different groups. Each one gets 8 different tranches of unlocks staggered like every 2 months or something.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be if you're holding
and
that.
The staggering isn't in like the staggering is kind of oddly overlapped that it kind of equates to an unlock a day.
It's consistent sell pressure constantly, always. That's awesome.
Well,
and they launched at what, like a fucking $1 billion valuation? So
yeah, that was something. I'll never forget this. Me and Corval were actually both out of town for this thing for Sonic, and while we were like kind of like filming this thing, it all happened, and nobody would like confirm anything, right? So it was like basically like Corval's like looking at his phone, like, dude, Trump just launched a token, and we're all like, no, he didn't, and it's like, no, he didn't do it. And then like the chart's already going crazy. And then like 15, 20 minutes later, basically like Trump confirms like, oh, like, yeah, that's, we've launched this token. So then it's like, well, it's already at $1 billion. So we've already missed any window that we would have. And then like from there, it went to like something crazy, like 10, 15 billion or something.
Yeah. People are saying like that's the complete and total top of crypto because who's bigger than the president? Who's bigger than the president that can launch a token? I could think of one person.
Was that Beijing?
Xi Jinping launches a token. That shit's going at 20 trillion, dude.
Yeah,
Kim Jong-un launches a token.
Dude,
bro.
We need Kim to drop the ticker.
Kim dropped the ticker, dude. We're gonna turn North Korea into freaking Manhattan, dude. Like whole peninsula. You're gonna be so rich, dude. It's gonna be crazy. I just realized we didn't talk at all about Drake. It's not really a long story, but do you guys want to know what happened?
Yeah, I want to know what happened. I'm dying to know. This is like happened.
So I learned this from Pancakes Bra, who's been on he's been on crypto Twitter as long as I have. I don't really know his lore or anything about this guy. Just I guess he posts.
He's the Friend Tech guy. He's
really?
He's like he didn't make Friend Tech, but he was like the big KOL for Friend Tech and kind of credited with like making that blow up when we were like in the abysmal bear market. And then they fired him right when it started making money, which was even more fun to add to the lore. So
wow, that's actually incredible.
We're going to owe him a lot of money or something if they like let him go within a certain time and they fired him so they wouldn't have to pay him.
That's fucking crazy. Pardon my language, but that's what I'm talking about in terms of crypto. Like you can kind of just get away with anything. It's really kind of evil. So whenever you can, wherever you can, get those commitments on the blockchain, dude. Get the funds loaded up in a contract, that like not like a legal contract.
Yeah, bro, I want that in my Llama Pay
schedule.
Yeah, get it on a Llama Pay.
Yeah, put that on Llama Pay, dog.
Yeah, if you're really about it. But anyway, he I can see why he's a good KO. He was on the Dark Kenny's subreddit. So you got to take us a little bit of a grain of salt because this is like Kendrick Lamar super fans.
Wow.
But apparently, he has a wallet. Drake has a wallet that has been tracked, tied to this Telegram account, The Boy. Oh yeah, I'm sharing the wrong screen. It's tied to like a bunch of like bank accounts, and he paid some guys out of this crypto wallet to do some murders, dude. Yeah, here we go.
I don't know.
This guy was-
It's hard to tell when it's like, you know, so basically like this is like a subreddit dedicated to the Kendrick and Drake beef.
Yeah, but like this is some. Oh, wait, I'm showing the wrong thing here. This is like why it's so crazy. Is because apparently there was this phone he wanted to get his hands back on because it had the private keys, right, to his wallet. This guy hacked the phone, SIM swapped the phone, dropped the address. So that's how it's been tied to Drake. He was trying to get it back from DJ Academics. And then on the phone, he's also found all this other stuff. Like, this is just like some crime shit. Like they're just arguing, like beefing. They're beefing right now, right? Yeah. She's dead. They just like killed somebody or threatening to kill people. Threatening to R-word women, dude. It's crazy stuff. And it's all because the wallet, the crypto wallet is tied to it. So supposedly they can tie it to his phone, which is his, and they can tie the payments to the crimes. Now, is this true? Did this really happen to Drake? I'm kind of suspicious of the whole thing because like Dracula said, this is like the Kendrick Lamar super fans, Drake haters fan club. But
fun story nonetheless.
It's fun story, and to me, it kind of sheds a little bit of light on this kind of idea of like crypto crime. How it's very interesting because to me, it seems like the people that are the most, like the criminals that can be held to like justice through crypto most often are people that are not necessarily crypto native. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's very true. Yeah,
the tech is excellent for tying people together for for compiling a RICO case. You couldn't ask for a better tool than blockchain payments, but for, it
rarely
scamming
happens.
people, you also could,
Yeah, it rarely happens.
Who's doing the raping? Who's doing the raping?
It rarely happens. They rarely track it, you know what I mean? Even though they could easily, but yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all we got today. Is anybody else? Souvlaki, you got any parting words you want to add?
No, thank you for having me. Absolute
Yeah, man,
pleasure.
we got to get you back
Really
sometime. It was great to have you on.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. We're going to have you back again, Souvlaki. What time is your show? Again, time and place of your show on Tuesday. Let's hear it again.
Tuesday, 5 p.m. UTC.
All right, Tuesday, 5 p.m. UTC.
That's
Doing
on your
Spaces.
app, right? Perfect. Awesome. I'll be there. You guys be there. Also, if you want to join us in Vienna, you know what you got to do. Reply to this video wherever you're watching it and tag your favorite crypto content creator and your favorite protocol, and you'll have a chance to win. And hopefully,
Yeah,
see
you don't want to miss that. If you want to go to Vienna, man, like I said, short flights only. Though we got to have our per diem out there. So
Yeah, you'll be staying in a hostel. So
yeah, it's a one-room hostel with me and Corval. Yeah,
bring a towel.
Oh man. Well, yeah, y'all. We'll see you guys next week. And thanks again, Souvlaki. It was a great time.
Thank you.
And we will see everyone else on Tuesday.
Adios, folks. Bye-bye.
GM Sonic is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.